So both these little products are going to be dead simple and super cheap. They're going to consist of only 4 components. That's the nichrome wire, the battery charger or something else that you need to plug in, a piece of wood for your flatbed. I'm going to use a sprung bit of metal, but you can use anything to essentially hold the wire in place. I'm not worrying that if it's really safe, I'm only going to be using it for a little bit of time, it's not going to look good, and I really don't care. It's going to be quick, simple and easy, and it's going to cost you pretty much nothing because I'm sure you're going to have these components at home. This is how I've done it. Not recommending you to follow this, but it's how I get the job done without spending a lot of money. Right, so I'm just starting to make my harness for prototype number 2 testing, and we need a couple of things, and that is, well, got some plastic that we need to be bent into shape, and we got some foam that needs to be cut. So I was looking for a hot wire cutter and a foam bender, but I thought, well, they're kind of pretty much the same thing, and I don't really want to buy them because it seems like a waste of money. So I rummaged around and found an old heating thing, fan heater, whatever. And so we're going to take it apart and steal the wire out the inside that gets hot and see if we can make something that's going to do the trick. I've got one of those bloody 3 things. I don't think I have one of those bits, so we're going to try and make something fit. Okay, it kind of works if you just sort of like ram this in really hard and just do a small little turn. I can't bother to make something fit or find one. We don't have one, so this is just going to have to do for now. That's what we're looking at here, that wire. Basically, when you run a current through it, from what I know, it then it's resistance wire, so it heats up, and that's what we're going to be using. Okay, so I've got 2 lots here, so I'm thinking if I take this one off and then I can wrap that round a shaft to make a sort of spring, so we got like a lot thicker version for the line bending. So I'm thinking something like that, and then we'll just coil it around. I think, well, obviously if it's thinner then we're going to be able to get a piece longer, but the thicker one might get a slightly larger bending point, and then we can always cover it up with a sheet of metal if we want a really fine line, I think. So yeah, we'll give this one a go. And then for the wire cutting, we'll just have a section of this that's cut straight and taut. Right, let's see what happens. So let's get all very red. Wow, look at that. That's good. Okay, so now we're going to just do a little heat test of this thing to see how well it's working. So, turn it on. Got a little leaf on there. We'll see if that gets, oh, see, nice and hot. Nice little fire. You can see the whole thing goes red. Yeah, brilliant. We're going to try a little bit of a heating up of this. Whoa, get some smoky on there. Woohoo, cooking. Perfect. We had to start a bonfire with that, or maybe bend some plastic. So hopefully we're well on our way to making this harness prototype. Got it. Okay, so this is a laptop charger, and what we're going to do is take this end off, or maybe cut the, see if this just comes off here. Okay, yeah, that comes off, and then this says 19 volts, 4.74 amps. So that's stepping down from 230 at the plug. That means that we don't need as much wire, we don't need all of this lot. We can just get away with using a smaller strip. I've just got this piece of old wire here that I'm probably going to use. I just hooked the multimeter up to double check what the actual voltage is going to be. Just out of interest really, I don't really know. There you go, put that on there. So coming out at pretty much 25 volts, even though that said 19, so yeah, that's just hitting 25 there. So I'm sure you could do some calculations so you know how long that's supposed to be. If you knew what resistance it is, I could test it, but we're just going to do a bit of trial and error. This is the resistance wire that we got out of the fan, and that is going to create or short the circuit, and this will get hot as a result. Safety first. Put that there, little box. Okay, all good. So this now should heat up. So I can just switch that on. There you go, you can see a little bit of smoke there. That is getting out pretty red. So I'm sure that would cut through. Whoa, yeah, that does it. Turn that off. That was probably a bit hot. Right, so I found this little piece of metal outside on a pram that I salvaged, and what we're going to do is use this. Forget about this stuff. It might come in handy actually. We could put it at the top. I don't know. This essentially is going to be attached to a base, and then the wire here is going to be at the top, so we don't need to faff around with springs. That's just going to be attached on there, so it's always going to keep the wire in tension. And we just have the cable coming up with the back of this, and later on it's wide enough, so that'll be that. Okay, so that centre hole there is going to be where the wire goes through. I'll just push that down a bit. Sand those off, that's fine. And that's going to come out like that. Okay, so now we're just going to get that wire and thread it through. I'm going to put that in the top here. We're going to have a bit extra wire, which side doesn't really matter. Put that around there. I just put a little hole in the top here just to make sure this doesn't slide off and you pinging a hot wire across the room. Didn't fancy that. You got that one going in there, and then this one, if you can, get through that middle hole. I think what we're going to do is have more slack wire at the top just because it's easier to get to, and you can control the heat a little bit more. I'll show you what I mean on that. This isn't supposed to be beautiful or anything, this is just real quick bodge job, easy stuff. So I'm just going to wrap that around there. It doesn't have to be tight, the wire seems to hold pretty well. Right, so there we go. Pull that wire through a little bit better. Just going to do that. A bit more slack up at this side. There we go. Bend that down there. Lovely. Quite a lot of tension on that, that's fine. And that wire can just come down the side of this. It doesn't matter if it's touching the other metal. Yeah, it's only going to get a little bit hot. I'm not planning to touch it as I'm doing it, so it'll be fine. So you've got the little nichrome wire here, and this is one of the terminals. You can just use that to slide it across to alter how much of that nichrome wire you're using for the resistance, and that'll increase or decrease the temperature. I'll show you on a little test run when I got it set up. So this is the underside, and as you can see I've got rid of that little plug in the end, so I'm not going to be using this laptop charger anymore. It was just too much of a faff, and this is a much better connection here. And then this comes in here. As I said, I haven't bothered to get that off because this is just a quick, cheap and easy build, but turns out that little bit there just it's kind of nice for me to clip on directly. Oh, there you are, just a bit of slack there, directly onto that there, so it's not really touching any wood. It just means that I'm not really going to burn anything, so that's kind of nice. That's good enough. Yeah, there you go. I'll just untangle that or whatever. Doesn't really matter, but for now that's just going to be poking out the bottom, so that's that. You can see what I was talking about here. You just wrap that wire around and that holds good enough for the tension you're putting on it. Yeah, it's really not much at all. So we'll turn that on. You see a little bit of smoke coming up there. Yeah, that's pretty hot. Okay, so maybe we need to just extend that a little bit further. As you saw, I've got quite red there, so probably a bit hot. Okay, so we just raised that up a little bit. Turn that on. And you can see I'm not getting as red now, so it might still be a little bit too hot, but just an example. Job's a good one.